it would be either Mr. Malika or Mr. Solomon. You want me to toss the coin? All right. Are we appearing for Mr. Makwasa? Is this Mr. Solomon?
Yes, Judge, I'll check for Mr.
Yes.
Makwasa.
Yeah. Mr. Makwasa, yes.
Yes. Would you like me to commence?
Well, if that is consistent with my ruling.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Good morning, Minister. Just to talk about Mr. Magwaza's role in Sassa, in your statement at paragraph 13, you indicated that Ms. Peterson's term of office expired at the end of May 2016, and you then say that Mr. Magwaza was appointed to the position in June 2016. Although he was appointed to the position in June 2016, he only formally assumed the position on 1 November 2016. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Now, is there any reason why it took from the time that he had been appointed and approved by the ministerial committee in June to you signing his letter of appointment on the 1st of November 2016, or with effect from 1 November 2016?
It was administrative, and I think Mr. Magwaza knows that we had a discussion and we agreed that on the 1st of November, Mr. Dango will be starting was social development. Ngoba angisafuna ukuloku ngishintsha abantu kakhulu.
Because I do not want to keep changing people around too much.
So ngamcela ukuthi ahlale uzoqala ngomhla ka-1 uNovember.
I then requested him to stay on, and he would start at Sassa at the beginning of November.
Mr. Solomon, sorry. Sorry to interrupt you. I think I should make this point. If I didn't make it yesterday, when I gave you the right to put questions, you and Mr. Malika. Bearing in mind also the concern which Mr. Semenya has just raised. If I didn't mention this yesterday, you are not going to, and I'm sure you don't intend doing that, you and Mr. Malika. You're not going to traverse the areas which have been fully covered by Mr. Bathabile and Ms. Yaku. Because we can't keep on repeating the same thing. You deal with those aspects which have not been dealt with them, which they didn't deal with, unless you deal with them from a different perspective. But please do not repeat what has been thoroughly dealt with. Now, back to Mr. Semenya's concern, and in this regard, I'm addressing myself to your client, Mr. Semenya, to the Minister. Minister, we are now entering possibly more contentious evidence. And it will shorten proceedings, shorten your stay in the witness box. If you could just please try to answer the question, and once you have answered the question, just stop there, like I said the other day. Because otherwise, your stay in the witness box will be prolonged. We won't finish. Just answer the question, and once you have answered the question, just stop there. Like I said yesterday, if they want more information, let it be for them to try and get that more information out of you. Because otherwise, if you go beyond answering a question, then it's certainly going to prolong your evidence. And if we could avoid that, please let us try to avoid that. Yes, Mr. Malika and Mr. Solomon, you heard me about, you heard what I've said, that please do not repeat points which have been thoroughly ventilated by your colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you. Were you aware that the delay in the appointment of Mr. Magwaza was creating some consternation and speculation from the time that he had been appointed until the time that you signed his letter of appointment some 4 or 5 months later?
Cha.
No.
Now, we know from your statement, I know in your evidence under cross-examination, you wish to refer Mr. Budlander to your witness statement, and in particular sections of the act that governs Sassa. If you look at your witness statement in paragraph 15 and following, you set out various sections of the act to make the point that the CEO was accountable to you and was obliged to report to you on the activities of Sassa. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think you said yesterday that the CEO would not be in a position to make decisions, I assume you mean policy decisions, without your concurrence. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you also testified that it had always been the practice, it's your time as the minister and in dealing with the erstwhile CEOs, that there was a consultative process that ensued before decisions were taken
Yeah.
Yes.
of import. And would I be correct in saying that you were responsible for formulating policy that would shape how Sassa would implement its mandate?
Ngicela uphinde.
Can you repeat, please?
Am I correct in saying that you were responsible for formulating policy that would shape how Sassa would implement its mandate?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, if we could just go to your affidavit that you filed for the purposes of the Constitutional Court making a finding regarding to your joinder and questions of costs. It's in I just want to get the file correct. It's particular paragraph 53 that I'm after, and I'll give you the page number in the bundle. I think it's in the black sash bundle. And you find what I'm looking for. I think it's page 579. Does that accord, Judge, with what you have? And Minister, perhaps you could just tell us if... Do you
So
have
where are
it?
you, Mr. Solomon?
It's the Black Sash bundle, page 579, if my pagination is correct, Judge. It's the minister's statement. I'm not at the beginning of the
Which
statement.
paragraph? Which paragraph?
Paragraph 53. I'm in the middle of the statement. It starts at page 562, I think. Do you have it, Minister?
I think so.
The last sentence in paragraph 53, you say, in this portfolio, Mr. Magwaza, this is his portfolio as the Director General of the Department, Social Security. He would be responsible for formulating policy that would shape how Sassa would implement its mandate. Now, in light of your previous answer, obviously you're saying that is subject to your control and your direction. Is that correct?
La kukhulunywa ngo-Director General waka Social Development.
Well, the point here is that this refers to the Director General of what department?
Social Development.
Social Development Department.
Yes, no, I understand that. And what I'm saying is, even in that capacity as the Director General of Social Development, that individual who occupied that capacity would do so under your control and direction, insofar as policy and implementation thereof was concerned. Is that correct?
Akuhambi kanjalo ngokomthetho kahulumeni.
It doesn't quite work like that according to government law.
Okay, I don't want to debate it with you, but certainly when Mr. Magwaza became the CEO of Sassa, he was subject to your control and direction insofar as policy shaping was concerned. Is that correct?
Ngibona ukuthi nginyanzelekile ukusho lokho.
I think I'm under duress to say this.
Ucontrol isiZulu simchaza ngenye indlela.
The word control in Zulu is defined in a different way.
La kuthiwa concurrence.
The point here is concurrence.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
The point here is concurrence.
Concurrence. Okay.
Yes.
Now, you've relied quite heavily in your evidence under cross-examination on Ms. Umvalani's statement, that the unsigned statement that's been presented to this inquiry. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is she going to be called as a witness to back up your evidence?
Angas.
I do not know.
I'd like to take you to certain aspects of her statement and see if you agree with them. I know you've said that she's the party who is in a position to tell the truth. Is that correct? Do you agree with me that you said that?
Sorry, what did she say?
That Ms. Umvalani is a party who's best placed to tell the truth for the benefit of this inquiry. I'm just wishing to check that the Minister agrees that she said that. Is that correct, Minister?
Mr. Semenya?
surely it was in the context of a particular point about dates.
I don't remember this. In what context, Mr. Solomon? Did she say Mrs. Mvulani is a party?
No, what she said is that if one party is able to come and tell the truth to this commission, it would be Ms. Mvulani. That's my note. I don't know in what context it was said. But perhaps I had it wrong, and it doesn't matter. She can point out to us what she agrees or disagrees with as I take
Yes.
her through the statement. It was just a general proposition. But if we could go to paragraph 24 of her witness statement, Ms. Mvulani's witness statement.
Yeah, that's a statement, but
Yes, I now have the statement.
She says, in her role as the executive manager of special projects of Sassa, I took instructions from the CEO and I reported directly to the CEO on the progress made in relation to the work streams. I would also give verbal reports to the Sassa Exco at executive team meetings. Then she goes on to say, in addition to the reports that I would give to the CEO and the executive committee during Ms. Peterson's term of office, Ms. Peterson would have meetings with Minister Dlamini and invite me to those meetings. Is that correct?
yeah,
Yes.
She goes on further to say, at the meetings with the minister would request a verbal progress report on the work streams, which I would provide. Is that correct?
yeah.
Yes.
And was that generally a practice that was followed throughout?
Ngicabanga ukuthi la enginesiqiniseko sokuthi kwaba nama report kwakufuneka ukuthi emva kwaleyo report kube ne-action esithathayo.
I do think that whenever there was a report on something, due action had to follow thereon.
Yes. And then she goes on to say in paragraph 26, in May 2016, Ms. Peterson's team of officers, the CEO of Sassa, came to an end and Ms. Ramakopa was appointed as the acting CEO of Sassa. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
Then during Mrs. Ramakopa's tenure, executive team meetings were not as regular as they were during Ms. Peterson's term of office. Is that correct?
yeah,
She
Yes.
says, however, Ms. Ramakopa continued with Ms. Peterson's practice and would also invite me to meetings with the minister. Is that correct?
yeah.
Yes.
And would you also at that meeting, at those meetings, request verbal progress reports on the work streams with Ms. Ramakopa and in the presence of Ms. Mvulani?
Yeah,
Yes.
And then she goes on to say Ms. Ramakopa's term of office as the acting CEO of Sassa ended in October 2016. We've established that already. Occasionally, the minister would contact me directly to inquire as to the progress of the work streams, or would ask me to meet her at her office or home to provide her with such updates. I did so with the knowledge and approval of the acting CEO, Ms. Ramakopa. Do you agree with that?
yeah,
Yes.
And you've no reason to believe that in these meetings Ms. Mvulani would mislead you in any respect as to the progress being made vis-a-vis the work streams. Is that correct?
yebo, ngoba
Yes, because
amanye alama meeting ayeba nama minute.
some of these meetings had minutes.
So is it fair to say that Ms. Mvulani kept you appraised of all material events relating to the work streams and in particular the looming deadline of 31 March 2017 in respect of the 7 deliverables?
Angazi noma kubalekile yini lokhu ukuthi ngikusho.
I'm not sure whether this is important for me to say.
Kodwa ngesikhathi sixoxa ngendaba ye-black sash
When we talked about Black Sash,
kukhona la engichaze khona ukuthi ngabiza umhlangano
I did explain somewhere that I called a meeting
ngoba ngibona ukuthi angiboni ukuthi kwenzekani.
because I did not exactly follow what was happening.
So there was the odd occasion where you would intervene and call a meeting directly, for example, with Black Sash, if you were unclear about something that was being conveyed to you by Mr. Dlamini. Is that what you're saying?
Cha angisho njalo.
No, that is not what I'm saying.
Ngithi ngabiza umhlangano wama workstream lapho wayekhona uMr Dango.
I called a meeting of the
Yeah.
work streams which was attended also by Mr. Dango.
La ngangifuna ukuza ukuthi kwenzekani ngoba nami ngangingakhululekanga ngendlela okuqhubeka ngayo.
I wanted to understand exactly what was happening because it was no longer clear to me what exactly was happening.
Lapho kwase ku-October ngiyathanda futhi ukucacisa ukuthi ngangimemile uMr Magwaza kulowo mhlangano.
This was now in October, and I would also like to highlight that I invited to that meeting Mr. Magwaza also.
Thank you, Minister. Minister, what engendered this lack of clarity in the course of progress that was being made to meet the deadline, in your mind? What had triggered that?
Ukuthi ama workstream ayecele u2 months
The work streams had asked for 2 months.
and u2 months ku July August.
That would be July and August.
Yes, and so they asked for 2 months in July and August, and where did the lack of clarity come from?
Lack of clarity ayenziwa ukuthi angazi ukuthi kuqhubekani ngaleso sikhathi.
It was not clear to me what exactly was happening at that moment.
And what moment in time is that? Is that at the end of August? Or during the months of July and August?
Ngiyacabanga ukuthi ngishilo ukuthi ngo-October.
I already said October.
Yeah, but I'll just ask again, and maybe you can't, and I don't want to be unfair to you. Are you not able to tell the inquiry what sparked or triggered this concern that caused you to have the meeting on the 5th of October, 2016? Minister, do you have an answer?
Can I repeat the question in a different language?
Please go ahead.
Yini eyabangela ukukhathazeka kwakho kwabangelwa yini uzukhathazeke uzoze ubize umhlangano ngo-October?
Ukuthi ewangaqhubekeli phambili umsebenzi.
It's because there was hardly any progress visible regarding the total output.
And that was a grave source of concern to you, I assume.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we safely assume that if there was any prospect of any of the 7 deliverables not being met by the deadline date of 31 March 2017, that Ms. Umlani would have brought this to your attention?
Ngiyacabanga ukuthi kuyenzeka kwesinye isikhathi uma ngabe kusetshenzwa ezinye izinto zingakhulumi.
I do think that when people are hard at work, some things do not get discussed.
Okokuqala ngangazi nanokuthi ama executive afune illegal advice.
I was not, for instance, aware that the executives had sought legal advice.
Ngazi ngoba sesisemhlanganweni nama work stream.
I only became aware of that fact when we were together in a meeting with work streams.
But I think Mr. Budland has made the point on the legal advice that the legal advice was just the mechanics of how to deal with the problem. The problem, though, which was conveyed to the council involved, was that the deadline was not going to be met as had been foreshadowed in the report made to the Constitutional Court, which informed their decision to discharge the supervisory order in November 2015.
Can you repeat, please?
I think Mr. Budlander has made the point that the legal advice simply dealt with how to deal with the problem that a certain state of affairs presented. The legal advice didn't deal with the state of affairs. That was conveyed to council by those instructing them at the time. So the point is that whether or not you saw the opinion was just how lawyers would decide how to deal with the problem. But the problem that was conveyed to the lawyers was that the deadline was not going to be met. The seven deliverables were not, all 7 were not going to be met by that time, and it was that assurance that had led the Constitutional Court to discharge the supervisory order in November 2015.
Looks like we do not understand or are not on the same wavelength.
Ngoba Constitutional Court saskade submitted a report yon.
We had submitted a report to the Constitutional Court.
And then umangabe isine confidence ku report esasi submitile yase iyayeka supervisory role yayo.
And after it had established confidence in what we had written to it, then it's then that they withdrew their supervisory role.
I think okunye ummela ngayifundela kona ku report le or ku instruction eyayiphuma ku Constitutional Court judge.
And Judge, I think the lawyer can then maybe just read in his own spare time what on it was.
Ukuthi yinokunye kwakushiwo instruction le.
As to what the instruction actually entailed.
Before you proceed, Mr. Solomon, just for the record, Minister, after Mr. Solomon asked you what triggered your need to call for the meeting of the 5th of October, you kept quiet for a very, very long time, and I noticed that you were in fact also reading or having some pages looking at. I just wonder whether the reason why you took time to answer that question, which took so long for you to answer that the interpreter had to ask for the question to be repeated, I am not so sure whether perhaps you were looking for an answer in the document that you are looking at.
Lana ngiphethe i-document enama processes. So bengithi ngifuna ukuxhumanisa kahle impendulo yami.
Okay, I think for in future when you do need time to have a look, instead of giving an impression that you are keeping quiet, just tell me and say, hang on, let me check on something. Will you do that, please?
Yebo, ngiyabonga.
Because otherwise the impression given is that you are just simply not answering the question.
Ngiyaxolisa.
All right, thank
I
you.
beg your pardon.
Yes.
Take your point.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah, proceed, Mr.
What
Swan.
are those papers, Minister, that you were perusing? The loose papers with the green stripe on the right-hand side?
Let me explain to the witness, because she's not a lawyer. Let me explain to you in all fairness. I know she's representing. You know, Minister, why the lawyer is asking this question is that when a witness gives evidence, and then she begins to read some documents in her possession, sometimes the people would have the right to insist to see what is in those documents. So just make sure that the documents that you have in front of you are the documents which, if you read from them, you won't mind if they insist to see what is inside. If they are confidential, don't do that. Find a way of dealing with them, and not give the impression that you are reading from them, because once you read from them, they may have the right to insist that you disclose what those documents are and what is the contents thereof. I think that is that's the reason why Mr. Solomon asks you. Mr. Solomon, were you
I do understand.
persistent on that point, or it was just in passing?
It's in passing. I won't.
Yes,
we want
thank
to
you.
try and
All right.
move on
Yes,
and
thank
not
you.
get too tied up with collateral issues. Judge.
Yes.
What I was trying to put to you, Minister, I'm not sure if you appreciate, is in your evidence, and even now when I've asked you the question twice, you rely on the fact that these legal opinions were not brought to your attention until sometime in October. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And what I assume you want us to understand from that fact and what flows from it is that until one would have read the legal opinion, you would not have known that there was a problem in not meeting the deadline for 31 March 2017. Is that correct?
Ngicabanga ukuthi ngichazile ekuqaleni
I think I've already explained this before.
ukuthi emhlanganweni wama work stream basichazela ukuthi lezi zinto enithi nifuna zenzeke lana angeke zenzeke ngale period nina enicabanga ukuthi zizokwenzeka ngayo.
At a meeting of the work streams, it came apparently clear that some of the things, or most of the things that people wanted to see done would by no means be finalized by the terminal given date. Or deadline.
Ilapho ngabacela khona ukuthi kumele kube clear ama phases nama time frames implementation.
That is when I insisted on clear phases and dates of imputation.
Because logo kwakuzokwenza ukuthi noma sesibhala umbiko sichaza ukuthi kuzohamba ngale ndlela.
Because that would then inform the report that we would write. it would have to stipulate exactly how the whole process was going to flow.
Okokugcina bengichazile ukuthi i-environment yaka Sassa iyakudinga ukuthi uma ngabe kukhona ozokwenza ube ne-evidence ngoba ngasuke nje kuphumela omunye ngaphandle athi ayi akulona iqiniso leli elishoyo. So yayibalekile vesi ne-legal opinion and angiphikisani nokuthi ikhulu zaka Sassa zafuna illegal opinion.
It is important to note, as I've said before, that the whole atmosphere within Sassa is such that one has to ensure that one has all the facts at one's fingertips, and because somebody can easily just come with a dissenting view and do things their own way. And I am also not against the fact that the executives sought legal opinion.
Okay, but in any event, you didn't need reference to the legal opinions. You had already a feeling that things were not on track. And that's why you called the meeting, and that feeling you would have already had in July or August of 2016. Is that correct?
Ngaleso sikhathi ayengekho ama facts. I-concern yami kwakuwukuthi umsebenzi awuqali.
At that point, there were no facts on the table, and my major concern was that the work was not starting to happen.
Besides Ms. Mvalani's position, the CEO, Ms. Ramagopa, the acting CEO, you've no reason to believe she would have kept any material facts from you in regard to whether the deadline would be achievable or not. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Now, if we just look at the work streams, I think it's page 573 of your affidavit in the Sassa bundle, paragraph 31. This is the affidavit that you filed in the Constitutional Court. I think it's the Black Sash bundle, yes.
Black Sash or Sassa?
The Black Sash bundle. Paragraph 31. Do you have it, Judge?
I do, thank you.
Do you have it, Minister?
Yep.
Yes.
Now, I'm just going to read from it. With respect, this is paragraph 31, with respect to the Cassim opinion, that's one of the legal opinions you're referring to, is that correct, earlier on in your oral testimony now? Is that correct, Minister? Miss, I'm asking you, there's reference here to the Cassim opinion. That's one of the opinions that you referenced now a few moments ago in your oral testimony. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Then with respect to the Cassim opinion, I'd been advised by Ms. Ramagopa, who was the acting CEO at the time, that from her reading of the Cassim opinion, there was still some work that was required to reach any final determination regarding Sassa's capacity to take over the payment of grants. Now, this opinion, I think, was in April of 2016. We can look at it, but I think it was done in April. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Now, when had you been advised of this by Mrs. Ramagopa?
Ngicabanga ukuthi kade ngichazile ukuthi ngezwa nini.
I think I have said when exactly I became aware for the first time.
Kodwa futhi leli sentence le paragraph ayipheleli la uqede khona.
But then also this paragraph does not actually end where you at the point where you ended, you stopped reading.
Now, I'm going to continue reading, but I don't want to read it all and then ask you questions. I want to just do it in a manageable manner.
Okay.
But What I'm asking you, say you have told me, or you have told the inquiry, when had you been advised by Mrs. Ramagopa what's contained in that first sentence? When did she advise you with respect to the CASM opinion that there was still work that was required to reach a final determination?
La, ngicabanga ukuthi uMiss Ramahupa o ngase ngichaza ukuthi uthini yena ngokubona kwakhe ngeopinion ka Kasim. Akuxhumene ngokuthi wayekade engitshele nini. Ngishilo ukuthi indaba ye-opinion yama legal or legal advice yaqhamuka emhlanganweni ka-October.
I'm afraid I'll ask the minister to repeat. I did not understand the initial part. So what I say next might not be in context.
I think we're in trouble if the interpreter's not understanding.
Well,
But you clarify.
Okay, ngithi indlela okubekwe ngayo la wasechazwa ingxoxo phakathi kwaMiss Ramahupa nami.
all right, what I'm saying here, this is about the explanation of the discussion that happened between Ms. Ramagopa and me.
Emva kokuthi sekuxoxiwe noma emva kokuthi yonke le process ye legal opinion isiyenziwe.
That was long. That was after the whole legal process that led to the opinion had taken place.
Yes, so indlela esummarizwe ngayo le ebekwe ngayo ayiyi ngokuthi nge-chronology yama meeting esasinawo.
So this paragraph is only a summary of what happened there. It does not give a chronological account of all the things that happened.
And is there any reason for the omission to give the chronology?
Angikwazi ukuzophendula kanjani lapho.
I don't really know how to answer that.
But presumably this was a carefully drawn affidavit with the assistance of senior counsel. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
And it was a matter of some importance to yourself because there had been some trenchant criticism of your conduct by the Constitutional Court, and you were now required to give reasons why you should not be joined as a party to the Constitutional Court proceedings and why you should not be directed in what is an unusual order to pay the costs personally.
Ngicabanga ukuthi ekade kuchazwa lana ukuthi yini engangibhekile kakhulu uma ngabe ngiphendula ngale affidavit.
I think it has been stated over and over what it was that I was focusing on as we were drawing up the statement.
Okay, I'm not. If you say that you have
Chair.
said it over and over, I'm mindful of
Judge,
the judge's admonition, so I'm not going to. Sorry.
again, we must make the point that we are trying to get ourselves to the dispute of fact. All of these questions have nothing to do with it.
Can I just, for my own information, when did Mrs. Ramagopa advise you of all this? You say in that paragraph that with regard to the Kesim opinion, I had been advised by Mr. Ramagopa, etc., etc. When was this?
Kwase ku October.
In October itself,
Yep.
2016.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have you any explanation as to why Ms. Ramagopa took 5 months or 4 months from April to October to 6 months to bring this to your attention?
Again, Judge, we raise the concern that these questions are not relevant to the dispute of fact.
I am not so sure about that because I'm not sure whether the objection is justified. I'm going to give the benefit of doubt to Mr. Solomon.
Thank you, Judge. Could you answer the question, Minister?
Angeke ngikwazi ukumkhulumela uMs Ramagopa.
Well, I cannot speak in her behalf. That is Ms. Ramahupa.
But can we safely assume that Ms. Ramagopa was a trusted colleague, subordinate, and you had a good relationship with her? Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
And you cannot conceive of any reason why she would have deliberately taken 5 or 6 months to bring this to your attention?
Angicabangi ukuthi kwaku-deliberate.
I don't think it was deliberate.
All right. Now you wanted us to read further from, because you said what I read was incomplete, so in fairness to you, let me do so. Then you say, nevertheless, in response, I'm continuing from paragraph 31, Minister, are you with me?
Yep.
Nevertheless, in response to the issues raised in the opinion, she facilitated the timeless establishment of the work streams so that the technical work stream could produce a report on the readiness and viability of Sassa taking over from CPS by 31 March 2017. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
This ensured that the work streams were formally appointed in June 2016 and they commenced with their assessment from July 2016.
Yep.
Yes.
So what you're saying here is that it was really Ms. Ramagopa that ensured that the work streams were formally appointed. But what we know, and which you've admitted, is that this was really your initiative. Is that correct?
Angikuzwa angikhumbule ngithi kwakuyi-initiative yami.
I do not remember saying it was my own initiative.
Can we look at your statement that you gave for the purposes of your evidence?
Sorry, can we just get things? What is your quarrel with this? What is the problem here?
Judge, I'm not understanding what you put to me.
What is the disagreement between you and the...
And the witness.
Yes.
What she's saying is that it was not her initiative that led to the appointment of the work streams. She's denying that now.
When did you say that?
Well, let her repeat her question, her answer then, if you don't
What
mind.
was your question?
My question was, in paragraph 31, you say that it was Ms. Ramagopa who attended to the appointment of the work streams, and I'm saying to her, but it was your initiative. And she said to me, no, it wasn't. That's as I understood her evidence. But I can tease it out through...
She facilitated, Ms. Ramkhopa.
Yes.
Yes, she says Mrs. Ramkhopa facilitated.
Yes.
Maybe in terms of procurement and all that sort of thing. She
Perhaps I can-
facilitated the procurement and so forth and so on.
Judge, I was
But
going
the
to...
idea could still have come from somewhere else. It could have been her instructions, witnesses' instructions. But here, this paragraph says Ms. Ramkhopa facilitated,
Judge,
as
if we-
opposed to appointing, for example.
Yeah. If we go to the statement, it'll become clear. That's why I wanted to take it to a statement.
Yeah, I just don't want for us to try and resolve a dispute which is not there.
There may not be a dispute.
Well, let us see.
If we go to paragraph 30, the minister can just comment and tell us if what she says there is correct.
No, tell me first what, before she comments, tell me
It says,
when you
it's
are-
true that I directed that the specified workstream leaders be appointed by Sassa to lead workstreams, and that the leaders of the workstreams would report directly to me during the implementation. There's nothing sinister or inappropriate in this decision.
she directed that they be, yes,
And she takes ownership of that decision in
yes.
her statement.
And then, what's the problem?
No.
So,
No, so we know that she is responsible for having given the instruction for the appointment of the workstream.
yes,
So is that correct? Could I just take you to paragraph 30 of your statement that you furnished for the purposes of this commission, of this inquiry? And what you say, it is true that I directed that the specified workstream leaders be appointed by Sassa to lead workstreams, and this is now also focusing on the identity of who you said should be. We've gone through that. I don't want to go through that again. And that the leaders of the workstream would report directly to me during the implementation process. There's nothing sinister or inappropriate in this decision. Is that correct? What I'm saying is in paragraph 31, you don't say what you're saying in paragraph 30 of your statement.
Ngibona
sorry, what does she say in 31?
We've just read it. She says, nevertheless, in response to the issues raised in the opinion, she facilitated the timeless establishment of the work streams so that the technical work stream could produce a report on the readiness and viability of Sassa taking over from CPS by 31 March.
In the other statement, she gave instructions for the appointment. And here she says, Mr. Makufa facilitated. And you see a contradiction.
Judge,
Or,
we can
or
leave
am I
it.
missing something?
We can leave it for argument. What I'm saying is, in your statement, you do not say that this was done on your instruction, who was to be appointed, and that they were to report directly to you, as you say in paragraph 30 of your witness statement. That's all I'm putting.
la bengichazile ukuthi ikhona incwadi engayibhalela uMiss Peterson,
I did say before that there was a letter that I'd written to Ms. Peterson.
and then uMiss Peterson waye instructor uMiss Ramahuba.
And then Ms. Peterson instructed further
Miss
Ms. Ramahupa.
And if we go to that letter, it's at page 66 of the Black Sash bundle. Is that correct?
Yep.
That is the letter that you're referring to. The instruction. Do you have it, Judge?
I do, thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
And just to remind me, whose handwriting is it on the first page of that, the manuscript?
Handwriting le kara ethi raphahla.
You mean where it's talking about Rapatle?
Yeah.
Ibhalwe umuntu owayebhalelwe incwadi.
This is written by the person to whom this letter was
So that's
addressed.
Ms. Peterson's handwriting.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
she's instructing her deputy.
Akayona deputy eRaphahla.
No, she's not a deputy.
What was her position at the time?
Wenza a strategy.
She's in strategy.
Sorry?
She's responsible for strategy.
Strategy.
Yeah.
Now, we know that that letter, that instruction, is written on the 9th of July 2015. if we look at paragraph 31, you're saying, with respect to the opinion you'd been advised by Ms. Ramagopa, that there was work that was required to be done. That, you say, was conveyed to you in October 2016. And then you go on to say, nevertheless, in response to the issues raised in the opinion, she facilitated the timer's establishment. So if we look at that chronology, if we look at your opinion, we know that your instruction was actually given in July. We look at your affidavit, sorry, not your opinion, you say that the opinion of Mr. Kassem was only brought to your opinion in October. When in this chronology in paragraph 31, did Ms. Peterson establish the work streams?
Ngifuna ukukhuluma iqiniso angizwa kahle.
Frankly, I do not really understand.
What is it that you don't understand?
Ngichazile ekuqaleni la ngathi isummary le.
I did
Yokuthi
explain before that
kwenzekani.
this is only a summary.
And ayifakanga ama-date yonke le summary le.
This summary does not incorporate all the dates.
Okay. Thank you, Minister. You did say that. Now, if we just go on in your affidavit, you say at page 574, paragraph 33, returning to the sequence of events as part of the process of attempting to meet the 7 key... Did you have it, Judge? Sorry.
We'll get it. 5 seconds. Yes, we will.
Paragraph 33, returning to the sequence of events as part of the process of attempting to meet the 7 key deliverables, work streams were created and leaders were appointed to those work streams in July 2016 to develop information, business systems, banking services, mechanisms to implement the plan set out in 5 November 20 progress report provided to this court. Now, those work streams, we know, had already been foreshadowed in 2015 in terms of your directive. Is that correct?
Nala kubhaliwe ukuthi 2015.
Yes, it's also written here, 2015.
So, if we go back to what you'd said in your affidavit, it's not correct to link the furnishing of Mr. Kassem's opinion to the notion that work streams should be established, because that happened already the previous year, in 2015.
Ama work stream akhiwa ngo 2016.
No, the work streams were set up in 2016.
That we know, but your letter that we just looked at page 66, the instruction to Ms. Peterson, was in July 2015, the 9th of July 2015,
Yeah.
the previous year.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I'm putting to you is that, and I think you concede, that there's serious problems with the chronology in paragraph 31 of your affidavit, because you're linking the appointment, the decision to make the appointment, to Mr. Kassem's opinion, which only came the following year.
Azange ngize ngixhumanise lokho.
No, I did not link those.
Ngithe ngithi ngaloku nkulumo.
For those that missed the joke, I said, oh, no, let me not say much.
Now, you've conceded that there was a direct line of reporting to you by the work streams. Is that correct?
Ngithe ngiphethe ama-minute lana esizowaletha ngoba besingazi ukuthi azodingeka.
I said I have minutes here that we are going to submit because I did not know that they would be needed.
Ukuthi ngithi ama work stream azo reporter directly to me. Kwakukhona. Kodwa ngiyazi ukuthi ngokomthetho kahulumeni kusetshenzwa kanjani.
Yes, I did talk about the work streams reporting to me, but yes, I know very well how government operates.
Yiko ku same directive or instruction ngichaza ukuthi isasa ezowa hausa, isasa ezowa khokhela, yiko futhi sikhetha ikomiti ebekuzosetshenzwa nalo lo msebenzi.
And I made it clear that it would be Sassa that would house them and pay them, and there would be a committee appointed that will work in conjunction with them.
Kwakuthiwa steering committee.
It was called the steering committee.
Can we go to the minutes, the official minutes, the Sassa minutes? Because there seemed to be some complaint about the minutes, and I'll show you that in a later meeting. But go to the Sassa bundle at page 203.
Yep.
Yes.
And if you go to page 206, this is the meeting of the 24th of October to which you referred.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm reading the second block. Ms. Ramaphosa indicated that Sassa was receiving a lot of attention from the media, opposition parties, as well as members of the Portfolio Committee, that the agency would not be ready to take over the payment of grants on 1 April 2017. Now, at this stage, on the 24th of October, were you aware that Sassa would not be able to take over the payment of grants at that point in time?
Ngicela ukubheka masishane.
I just want to peruse here.
Ngicabanga ukuthi la yila kwase kuxoxwa khona nangama ngestructure sakasasa.
I think this is where the structure within Sassa
Say-
was under discussion.
Kanye futhi nanokuthi isiphi isikhathi
Proving the existence of meetings between the executives and the work streams.
I think the question is, were you aware that there were complaints by Sassa that the work streams were not updating them? I might not have used the correct words, Mr. Solomon.
That's correct.
Were you aware that there were complaints on the part of Sassa that the work streams were not updating them or reporting to them? Were you aware of that concern?
ngangingekho aware.
No, I was not aware.
Right, thanks.
Did the contents of this meeting and the minutes of this meeting not come to your attention in any manner at all?
Afika
The minutes did come.
akufikanga ama minutes. Kwafika i-report.
Oh, okay, not the minutes, but reports, yes, did come through.
Who submitted the report to you?
Angisakhumbuli kahle.
I do not remember.
And what did the report say? Did it deal with the contents of these minutes?
Oh, ngisathi ngisabheka kahle lana.
Sorry, I'm just perusing.
Ngizoqala ithuba lokwafunda kahle lama minutes kodwa nginayo ngiyazi afika ama report about lo mhlangano.
I will request for some time for me to be able to read through so that I can answer the question.
Kodwa ngayithola i-report ngawo umhlangano.
But what I can confirm is that I did get a report about the meeting.
Ngoba kwakumhlangano la ama work stream ayethole ithuba lokuyo reporta kuma executive.
Because this was at a time when the work streams had had an opportunity to report to the EXCO.
Futhi la ama work stream ayethole ithuba lokuthi a reportele u-CEO ukuthi kwenzekani.
And the work streams also had an opportunity then to report to the CEO on what was happening.
And was it reported to you that there were these concerns about the lines of communication?
Ngishilo ekuqaleni ngathi ku-reportiwe.
I did say before that, yes, there was, it was reported.
Yep.
Sorry, what was the answer? Can you just repeat it?
Ngishilo ekuqaleni ngathi kwa-report.
I said before that it was reported.
To you?
Yep.
Yes.
Had you not said in your evidence when we first commenced on Monday, it seems like ages ago, but that it never came to your attention that there was any dissatisfaction within Sassa, and the EXCO in particular, regarding the lines of communication and the parallel processes?
Kufike kumina ngalesi sikhathi indaba ye communication. Before lokho yayingakazi izifike.
Before then, there had been no problems.
Before when?
No. Ngishikade ngichazi. Futhi angiqali ukisho lento manje.
I've
The
said
line
this
of
before.
communication.
This matter on the lines of communication or
And
reporting.
if kungekho ukuphikisana emhlanganweni, logo akusho ukuthi bekuliwe. Because nama work stream awazange alwe about a line of communication.
When the lines of reporting or of communication were discussed, it was in a meeting and nobody expressed a dissenting view.
Nawo uMetcalf. Okay. Naye uMetcalf wakhuluma lapha emhlanganweni ukuthi akayiboni into wrong ekshintsheni ama lines e communication between the line eyayiphelele ne dotted line.
And Mr. Metcalf himself made it clear at that meeting that he did not have any problem about the solid line and the dotted line.
We could
So
just-
akona ukulwa ke lokho ngokomsebenzi.
Judge, I think on Monday, what the witness said, if my recollection is correct, It was a response to my question whether there were any concerns raised about the workings of the work streams, not the lines of communication.
Judge, I don't want to take it further. The record will speak for itself.
Yes, I'm not so sure myself. Actually, I'm a little bit confused, but that's my problem.
Then if we could just read further, EXCO, from that block, the next paragraph, EXCO members were of the view there was a gap between workstream leaders and Sassa, as they were not fully involved in the process. Was this?
The interpreter has just stepped out.
Oh.
What is the time now? I have no idea. Okay, I think maybe let's adjourn until 2 o'clock. Right?
Thank you, Judge. Yeah.
I don't know. I brought you fruit salad, but I couldn't bring it.
No, don't
And
worry.
it has a banana, more.
No, I don't see it.
Okay, let
We're
me
good
go
here.
and get.
No, I mean, listen.